before we adopted the puppies. We used to watch Dog Whisperer. All feeds into the whole reason that we were okay with adopting those dogs. Caesar Milan, you know, he was an advocate for the breed, and they were just about that time where you were starting to see more celebrities adopting them, and sure, that absolutely factored into my my trust of pit bulls, yes.
So Susan and her boyfriend adopted 2 puppies, a mix of American Pit Bull and Staffordshire Terriers.
They were good dogs. I mean, we trained them, we, you know, taught them all the basic commands. They were very willing to learn. They were socialized with plenty of other dogs. Our friends would bring their dogs over, and everything seemed great. My friends' kids would come over and play with the puppies, and they were loved. Those dogs were cuddling with me just before Dax showed up at my house that morning.
Dax is Daxton Borkart. That day, Susan let her dogs out while she stood outside holding Dax bundled against the cold. Then, within seconds, her dogs went from pets to predators.
They just kept coming at us, and Dex, they pulled him out of my arms, and all I could think was, I don't know what's going on, but I have to protect him. I have to save him. I have to do something. I have to get us out of here. I have to get us out of here. I have to get us out of here. It was just a nightmare.
Emergency! Help! Help! What's going on? Ambulance! 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 You're being attacked by who? A dog! Dogs! 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 People called 911 hysterical, saying she was attacked by 2 dogs. Apparently the dogs attacked a child. Where are the dogs? Whose are they, or what do they look like? They're 2 pit bulls. They're outside. They're outside in the back. So yes, they may encounter them. I don't care what they do to them. They can shoot them. I don't care. Whose dogs are they? They're our dogs. My dogs. My dogs. Oh my God. He's still breathing.
The whole time it's happening, you can't believe it's possible.
And you can't stop them.
You start praying and you just keep acting, you just keep reacting, and just keep trying to get him out of that situation.
The scar is going to be there for the rest of his life.
A scar that will cover most of a little boy's face. The attack happened here, at a camper home just off Highway 30 in Pocatello. The father says his son went into the kitchen to talk to his mom, and the dog attacked. Nobody knows why. Now his son has a lot of healing to do. 2 of the boy's facial nerves were damaged. Those nerves control facial movements, like smiling. Other wounds damaged the spit glands, the upper lip, and below one eye. It took more than 1,000 stitches and 6.5 hours of surgery to fix.
He's going to have to do a lot of counseling because he's going to be terrified. The poor 4-year-old don't know what's going on when something like that happens. So it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of counseling and a lot of love.
But Greg has a message he hopes people will take away from his son's tragedy.
Train your dogs to be nice dogs, to be loving dogs. We don't need any of that tough pit bull persona. 90% of people who get those dogs are trying to collect that image.
This dog is described as a family member. It's 5 years old, raised as a puppy, and tonight it may have attacked the one person who loved it most.
My pit bull attacked my wife for no reason.
Family and friends told Weeks to get rid of the dog. Now he wishes he'd listened.
And anybody that got any pit bulls, get rid of them, because I never thought it would attack my wife.
I saw this thing charging directly at my dog for no reason.
A precious family pet, Fiona, a black lab, attacked by a pit bull from across the street. Surveillance video showing the lab being thrown around like a rag doll, its throat then gripped by the pit bull's teeth.
I love her with all my heart. My children adore her. We all love her.
Anita Bolognese struggling to describe the moment the violent attack shattered the calm of this nice, affluent Bay Ridge street. Her husband is no less grief-stricken.
My wife and my kids, it's heartbreaking.
The family further saddened by the veterinarian's update Saturday. The owners of the pit bull say they don't want to discuss the attack.
Well, I don't want to talk to you. Because I don't want to.
Neighbors here say they live in fear of the dog. The police, they say, have told them nothing can be done. An attorney suggests it is a civil matter, not a criminal one.
A Saskatchewan woman is sharing her terrifying ordeal from earlier this month. She says her neighbor's dogs burst into her home and killed her pet.
These pictures of Corla Berg's dog Gucci are all she has left, along with the terrifying memory of the animal's death. Berg says Gucci was killed by her neighbor's 3 pit bull type dogs inside her home on an acreage in the RM of North Battleford. She says the dogs broke through her screen door. Berg says they cornered Gucci in the kitchen. When Berg tried to pull the dogs off, she claims they started coming towards her, growling. So she says she jumped onto the kitchen island countertop.
They dragged my pup out onto the floor of the dining room, and I watched her poop and take her last breath. And then they came and they dragged her out, and I was throwing dishes and screaming and yelling and get out, get out. And
the incident so traumatizing, Berg says she's staying with family.
I'm too scared to go home because they're still there. Like, are they going to come back and finish it? And my friends and neighbors are concerned for their children and their dogs.
If there's any justice, they're not going to give him much because it was just a dog. To me, it meant my life. That animal kept me from putting myself in a grave.
Rosemary Cole is in a state of despair since her 4-pound Chihuahua Honey was ripped from her arms Friday night by a pit bull on a leash, attacking and killing her service dog. And the dog owner who walked away after the attack has since turned himself in to police. He's being held on an unrelated warrant from the city of Newburgh. But for Cole, it's the end of her world. Friends and family say she refuses to eat or sleep and won't let go of the bloodstained clothing from Friday night.
I had my hands on the dog and I've tried everything I could to get the dog to let go of my baby. I couldn't save her.
Cole's story has gripped her peers at the Admiral Halsey Senior Village, but despite their support, her suffering is intense. Cole and her son say it's an incident that could have been prevented.
All I seen was her eyes looking at me, and I knew it was help me, Mommy, and I couldn't help her. If this man would have grabbed his dog by the jaws, she would still be right here where she's always been.
A recently adopted pit bull terrier went on a rampage, biting 4 people. And now that dog is scheduled to be put down tomorrow.
We went to go and play with him, and something in him just switched. Like, I don't know what it was, but it just switched. And he went after my dad. He jumped on top of my dad and went after him, and I jumped on top of the dog. And I was trying to pull my dad's skin from under him.
Then the dog turned on her.
Faithfully, same time, every day.
It was Friday afternoon. Brenda Hardrow was taking her beloved Pomeranian Sugar out for her daily walk.
Almost to that black car, they came barreling around. I mean, just running full force.
That's when she says two pit bulls came charging at her. Brenda says she picked Sugar up in fear. According to Pawtucket police, that's when the dogs started attacking her and her Pomeranian.
That's really had her by her neck.
Eyewitness News spoke with Brenda just moments after she was released from the hospital, still in the same outfit with bandages all over.
I can't get her face out of my mind. I can't get what happened out of my head.
Every day I wake up hoping that it's just a bad nightmare, but it's reality.
It was a day at the Tynehead Dog Park in Surrey like most others for Monica Piaseczna and her friend Jessica Shumay last Friday, when they were approached by what they describe as a pit bull mastiff cross.
3 dogs are just kind of around me, and this one blonde dog just kept snapping his teeth at him. So I lift him up above my head and I just turn, and the dog is just trying to grab onto anything he can. So he's pulling my jacket, he rips my jacket.
The dog punctured her buttocks with its teeth.
I just fall to the ground because I don't know what happened at that point. I look at that dog, there's blood everywhere. It's all on the ground, it's all on that dog's face. It's just, he's bleeding on his side, there's just blood everywhere.
After the attack, RCMP and paramedics were called and Piaseczna was taken to hospital for treatment. In the chaos and confusion of the moment, her family dog Bentley ran away, and that's when things went from bad to worse.
And I get a phone call, and a girl from Facebook that saw our post says, "I'm sorry to tell you, but we found Bentley and he's hit on the side of the road and he's gone, he's dead."
Piaseczna now struggles to walk, even sit, as her wounds were too wide for stitches.
We need to hold people accountable for their actions because dogs like that are lethal weapons. If I had a child, if I had my grandmother with me, they could have killed them.
Out 11, a cute Yorkshire Terrier suffering some terrible injuries. The dog's anguished owner says a pit bull from a homeless encampment is to blame.
And that's heartbreaking because he's very sweet and beautiful.
Freddie Eichelwitz is talking about his 10-year-old Yorkshire Terrier mix, Dexter, who was violently attacked by a pit bull Tuesday morning, who belongs to a homeless person who lives at this Miracle Mile encampment. Eichelwitz says out of nowhere, the pit bull leaped out of one of the tents at the encampment and bit Dexter numerous times. Dexter has lacerations all over his body.
What was the reasoning for this? Where was my protection? Where is his rights? You know, where's the protection for him? That could have been a young child, 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, an elderly person walking by. They would have suffered the same fate and possibly been killed. I have to register my dog. I have to get my dog shots. I have to make sure my dog is healthy and pay for, you know, all the services that need be, the licensing. But yet, homeless people, they don't have to feed their dogs. They don't have to get their dogs rabies shots. They don't have to do any.
Security video shows a white pit bull tied to the Kylie's front porch in Kenosha. What we won't show you is what happened immediately after 4-year-old Colin tried to pet it.
And in an instant, the dog just lunged at him and mauled him, bit him in the face.
Colin's dad, Paul, carried him away to a hospital around the block. The owner tends to her dog. Paul says Colin underwent a 2.5-hour surgery. His initial injuries too graphic to show.
This is life-changing. You know, you go from a happy 4-year-old boy, perfect child, to having to face multiple surgeries for the rest of your life, revision surgery, plastic surgery. No child should have to go through that.
They don't know where the owner took the dog.
How frustrating is that for you?
It's unbelievably frustrating. Like I said, it's just a matter of time before this dog bites somebody else. And to be totally irresponsible to have a dog that has done what it did, you know, why would you put a dog above a child?
Angelina Lyotta lives next door and is terrified of the animals.
I put the fence up because of them.
Put a fence up.
You put the fence up because of them?
Yeah, they was all coming in my house, near my house. I was afraid they bite me.
Her best friend is the victim of the attack. She says her friend also wanted to put up a fence, but couldn't afford it.
But think she wanted to put the fence up, she knows having money. She couldn't pay the things in the house.
She remains in critical condition.
The scalp was removed on the floor. They've had to pick up the pieces and put them back together on her head. Supposedly, they're saying that the bone was exposed out. They're trying to save her leg.
Several neighbors tell 8 on Your Side they've called to complain about the dogs before, But the Hernando County Sheriff's Office says they only have one record of a call for service about the dogs.
It was her own pet that set the dogs off. When she tried to pick up her dog to protect it, the pack of pit bulls went after her.
4 large dogs, literally eating a woman. They were throwing her body around lifeless, limplessly.
Kathy Gillespie's fiance and this man, Aaron Green, ran to help, grabbing things from their garage to fight the dogs off.
I would hope that someone would do the same for me or one of my loved ones.
She shares a property line with the owner of the dogs, which are described as bull mastiffs and pit bulls. The two men stood back to back and fought the dogs off until firefighters arrived with a large pole.
Saw something that I can never unsee.
In total, 6 people were injured.
64-year-old woman was on the receiving end of a vicious attack by a pack of dogs just near her backyard as she was actually walking her own dog right behind me here in this Spring Hill neighborhood in Hernando County. Witnesses describing it as a gruesome and chaotic attack in this backyard, leaving that victim severely injured.
But the scary part about it is that the sheriff just said in his news conference that had that been a small child, he wouldn't have survived that. My son is 3 years old, and he just left the house 20 minutes before the incident happened.
Just off the bus, that's where Christina Froker's son Carter was attacked.
He's just steps away from home.
By 2 pit bulls who police say had escaped from a neighbor's fenced yard Monday afternoon. Her son, still in the hospital, has serious bite marks on his arms and legs.
It's still scary because he's in a lot of pain.
Tonight, a 3-year-old is recovering after being viciously attacked by a pit bull in Clearwater.
My mom called me and said he had been bit by a dog in the face, and that's all she could really get out.
Mercedes Tuttle says her son Peyton was sitting on a bench outside RCS Food Bank with his grandmother last week when the dog attacked.
He was on a leash, but the leash was not being held by the owner. The dog came up to him, licked him, and snapped him in the face at the same instant.
And he has more than a dozen stitches.
This has been very overwhelming. You know, nobody really ever prepares themselves for something like this. The hardest part for me is that someone could allow their dog to do this and, you know, not take responsibility.
She was a very, very happy child, and she's going to be very, very missed. It's just something that shouldn't have happened. They should have been more careful with their dogs.
The makeshift memorial continued to grow this morning for 9-year-old Emma Hernandez. This was the scene yesterday after she died a most horrifying death. The vice-like jaws of pit bulls tore her throat, and while bystanders and first responders did all they could, she bled to death before anyone could really help her.
The ambient sound of children at play here at Wiltondale Greenwood Park shattered in a fraction of a second.
It happened in under half a second. It just happened so quickly, but in my mind, I can clearly see the dog jumping up and making face-to-face contact with my son. And as quick as that happened, my son was on the ground.
7-year-old Andrew Mercier never saw it coming and now bears the scars of a large gash in his face, which required 15 stitches. The culprit, a large mixed breed pit bull.
The dog was on a leash, but apparently broke free of their owner.
But the attack has shaken the community.
The dog attacked him in the face, which is really scary because had it been closer to his eye, closer to his neck, I mean, I can't go there.
In addition to the physical injury, the unprovoked attack has also proven to be a mental challenge for the second grader.
It was very emotional. Andrew, being 7, had a lot of questions at first. Why would a dog do this to me? Why did this happen to me?
It has also taken its toll on Andrew's parents. While pit bull owners are quick to defend the breed, pointing out that all dogs are capable of biting people, the Merciers have become quick studies on the damage this breed can inflict.
Pit bulls do have a much higher rate of attacking the face, attacking the neck. Their numbers are so much higher than other dogs that we have started looking into. There should be special laws for these type of dogs, in particular the pit bull mix, because of these high numbers.